Good afternoon, everybody. It is Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison, and I hope everybody is having a great afternoon. And let me make sure I invite Allison. So Allison is invited, so we're just waiting for her. But while we're waiting for Allison, for my replay audience, if you happen to watch this on the replay, make sure that you comment replay and also comment where you are watching from so that we can go back and thank you later for watching the video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Ooh, my skin is extra shiny today, but that's all right. That means my skin is moisturized. But while I'm waiting for Allison, today's topic is going to be on what not to do. And when we say the break, we are referring to the break between relationships. Hey there, girl.
Hi.
Well, how are you this afternoon?
I am doing good. How are you?
Girl, I am doing good too.
I'm loving the hair, by the way.
Thank you. You know, I'll be having to try something different. Since I dyed it, I have to give it a break, and so it can get moisturized and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So that's what's going on.
that's a good move. More people need to be aware of that. There's nothing wrong with coloring, but you got to take care of your hair.
That part, exactly. But as I was saying, today's topic is what not to do during the break.
Yes.
We talked about a long list of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, I felt it was only right we talk about what not to do.
I agree.
So, to go ahead and get started, I am Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur and the Soul Speaker. I am the author of these two books, The Goddess And what else do? I do all kind of stuff. But I'm an advocate for self-love, self-care, self-everything. And we have Allison, and Allison is going to go ahead and introduce herself.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Allison with Be Still and Move, the organization that's been designed to help you heal, grow, and live beyond that relationship status by becoming better, not bitter, and enjoying your life along the journey. I'm a counselor, blogger, vlogger. I just tell the truth as I see it. I share my heart. I give some straight talk, but I try to do it with love at all times. So I'm glad to be here.
And I'm glad to have you. What was I going to say?
I'm sharing your video, by the way, so you know why I'm looking down. I'm just making sure it's being shared.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Actually, I have my laptop here on my lap. But okay. For everybody that's watching, thank you, Sonia, Dolores, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. Hey, Vinny. If there's anything that we say that resonates with you or you feel is beneficial for anybody else, please feel free to share the video. You can even share the video now. We will appreciate it. But girl, people calling me. Don't be calling me during this time. Y'all know I'll be busy.
Oh, it drove me nuts. My son did that once. I think it was when I was doing the car. I was in the car with you, and he just kept calling like, you are killing my connection. Oh, yes, my goodness. But it was funny. It's funny now, but not then.
Right. You like, wait a minute. I'm trying to say something before I forget. But we love engagement. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions, comments, whatever it is. We invite it all. But like I said, today's topic is about what to do during the break. The break being that time that you take between the ending of one relationship and before you get into the next relationship. This is not a bashing video. This is not anything, both Allison and myself are advocates for self-love and self-everything. And our focus is for you to get better and to become the best you so that you can be everything that you need to everybody else. So we're not promoting selfishness, but
Right.
selflessness.
Right.
So make sure you have that, the correct mindset before we start talking. And y'all like, this just another male bashing video, another female. No, it's nothing like that.
It's not.
But we're going to go ahead and get started. So, of course, I have my list, which is similar to the list that I had last week. But I don't have these things in any particular order. And Allison, of course, if you think of anything that I've left off this list, please feel free to add.
Okay.
But the first bullet point that I have is don't play the victim. Anytime, well, in most cases, breakups are really not ever a good thing, but it's needed. Whether you wanted it, didn't want it, whatever, it's needed. But when you go through a breakup and during that period of time, don't play the victim. I mean, hey Robin, hey
Hi,
Daniel,
Robin.
don't play the victim. Don't be the person that, don't be on Facebook and social media with all the negative posts, and don't be out here looking for all this kind of pity, and just just give yourself some time. That's all I'm really saying. I really can't say too much on this particular bullet point because it's not my reality. Not to say that I'm better than anybody else or anything like that, but I've gotten to the point where um I'm good with myself. And if for some reason, I like somebody and it don't quite work out, I'm not gonna be out here, trying to get all this attention and whatnot by being the victim or anything like that. I happily accept it for what it is. And in either case, I'm happy about it because there's always some good in the situation. So, Allison, since this is more in your field or, what you talk about, I'm going to go ahead and let you say what you got to say because I know you got a lot to say.
Well, when we're talking about playing the victim, I want you to understand that there's a difference between playing victim, which is what we're talking about, and you being victimized. And so if you are one of the people, you have had to accept the fact that you may have fallen in love with a narcissist. You may have put too much energy into an emotionally unavailable person who made it hard for you to walk away because they tend to be people who don't know if they want you, but they know they don't want you to want someone else. So if you happen to have gone through situations like that, to that extent, yes, you have been the victim of someone's personality disorder or whatever. But what you want to really remember is those initial phases of a breakup, you are emotional. It doesn't matter if you're normally not emotional. It doesn't matter if you normally don't care how relationship goes. We've all had one that gets us. We've had one who got in. We've had one who had a more significant impact than maybe other people that we dated. And they're going to affect you differently. So in either case, remember that you are emotional. And you think everything you're doing is logical at that time, but I guarantee you, 3 to 6 months later, if you go back and look at those posts and go back and look at those Facebook lives that you just had to do at 2 o'clock in the morning when you were mad and drunk, I guarantee you, you're going to go back and say, why the heck did I put all that on social media? Why did
Right.
I let all of those people into my private space like that? Because social media is supposed to just be that. You have to think about it the same way you would at a club. I'm giving a really horrible example. So if anything I'm saying is wrong, forgive me. I've only been to one, and that was over 25 years ago, and I hated it. But if you're in a club with a group of people, are you just gonna automatically, if you're sober, are you gonna automatically just start telling people about your private life because they
Nope.
say hello? Are you gonna, or if the bouncer says, "Hey, how you doing?" Are you gonna sit out there for 2 hours and talk about this relationship and why you felt like you were done? No, because in your mind you're like, that's too personal, and I'm gonna look extra. Well, it's still too personal and you still look extra on social media. Don't let the fact that you're behind your little keyboard and on your little touch screen, and don't let that hide the fact that you are still projecting something over the waves, over the internet, over whatever app you're using, and you will regret it later. Cry
Yep.
offline. I know I have one friend, when she has when she happens to have a situation happen that disappoints her, one of the first things she does is deactivate all her accounts. And
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't do it to prove anything to whoever it is that she was dealing with or whoever hurt her. She does it to prevent herself from saying anything or doing anything that she knows she's going to regret later. I think
Right.
that's a very mature practice. So yeah, when we're talking about playing victim, the bottom line is you ended up with someone that you wanted to be with, and for whatever reason, either they didn't want to be with you or you realized that it wasn't going to be healthy for you to stay. It
Right.
hurts. It's okay that it hurts. Hurt offline. Don't look for the woe is me's and the pats on the backs and the fake sympathy. Don't do that. You've got to have a circle of people that will let you do that privately. And if you don't, find me. We'll create a direct line or something. I don't know. But stay off social media.
Yes. And the thing about that, to piggyback off what Allison said, whatever you are, that's what you're going to attract. You don't want to attract that and that be your next relationship. I'm just saying. You don't want to attract
Yes.
those people, and that's the type of people that you have around.
And there are leashes out there, y'all. I need you to understand that when you are emotional like that, you are vulnerable. And there are
Mm,
people who want to play on the fact that you are vulnerable. They have no problem taking you through the same situation again. They don't.
right.
So protect yourself. Protect yourself. What's up, Tenafly? What's up, Shelly? What's up, Miss D? Oh, what's up, Octavia? What's up, Monique? Mwah. Oh,
Hey,
what's up,
everybody.
Monique number two? All right.
Hey, everybody. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, comment below. We'll definitely look into it. Yes, like Robin says, no pity parties.
Not
None of that.
online. You can have it for a minute, but don't do
Right.
it
At
online.
home. And that brings us to our next bullet point, which is do not lie to yourself. And the reason I put that on there is because sometimes after a breakup, we have a tendency to want to make the situation better than what it is, or even make it worse than what it really is. We have to be honest with ourselves about the breakup. And when we are honest with ourselves, then we can properly manage our emotions and how we feel about it. We can properly process what we were supposed to learn from it, what we were supposed to get from it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can take this particular time during the break to make sure that we learn from the lesson, we're properly processing everything to prepare us for that next relationship. And don't lie to other people. Don't make other people think, this person did you really wrong when they really didn't. But then you don't talk about what you did. And don't um don't allow others to lie to you about what the situation is. And that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I'm straight to the point, and it's just like it is what it is. There's no point in sugarcoating it. It's no point in adding to that. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Allison.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you don't romanticize and that you don't vilify. Like Ruby said, the biggest issue that I see sometimes with people is they end up going through, and it's part of the healing phase. So if you're here, it's fine. You don't want to get stuck. That's when it becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But you start to romanticize. You start to sit back and think about all the good moments. And if you happen to be the person who had to leave the relationship reluctantly, or the person who was left, you tend to start thinking about the good times. And our mind has the ability to do a lot of stuff. And one of the things your mind will do will have you thinking that You just walked away from some storybook relationship. You start
It,
to magnify all of the good times, all of the little things that he or she did. You start to magnify all that, and then you start feeling like you made a mistake. Well, maybe it
mm-hmm.
was me. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Well, I didn't see it like that before. And so if you are at that phase right now, what I want to encourage you to do is wait 30 days. Just wait
Yes.
30 days. Write the stuff down in a journal. And I guarantee you, in 30 days, as long as you stay away and don't continue to have contact and try to play let's be friends, you're going to see that you are romanticizing the good. It's not that it wasn't good, but it wasn't to any thought of the imagination as great as your mind wants you to think it is.
Right.
In terms of vilifying, you want to make sure, and again, this is part of the healing process, go through it, don't stay there. You want to
Exactly.
hate them, you want to be mad at them, you want to call them every name in the book, and that's you releasing your anger over something happening that you didn't want to happen. That's fine, but you don't want to continue to, don't be the person that nobody wants to come around, because every time you open your mouth, you're downing the person that you were just with. It's like you're in this
Yes.
loop. You're in this constant loop. Now, you may be there for a minute, especially if you're getting out of a toxic situation, but that's your brain resetting itself. So you may be
Mm-hmm.
in that loop, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to make sure you don't stay there, because at some point you said you love the person more than likely. So
Right.
if you want to continue to act like nothing they did was good, what you're saying is you chose to fall in love with a person who wasn't good. So what does that say about you?
Exactly.
So all
Exactly.
it the ending of the relationship cannot be the totality of the relationship. Just
Mm-hmm.
because it ended badly does not mean the whole relationship was bad. If it was, why were you there? Now, there's other examples, and we'll talk about that another time. But for a regular relationship that does not deal with toxic or abusive or narcissistic people, the relationship was not always bad. So stop trying to make yourself think it's bad just so
Right.
you can get over it. Just accept that it didn't end the way you wanted it to.
Exactly.
Well,
Hey, Ken, Lashonda. Yes. Thank you, Katrina.
hi,
Janika,
Katrina.
thank you all for watching. And again, if you feel that anything that we're saying is beneficial in any way to anybody, please feel free to share. Please feel free to engage.
Please, yes.
Um, Now our next, well, the next thing that I have on the list is say no to rebounds.
Woo! Can you say that one more time?
Say no to the rebounds.
Yes! Just say no. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just like, first of all, sometimes I see them statuses on Facebook where, well, let me not say I don't see them. I see other people saying that they see them about how you was in love this week and then now you in love 2 weeks later and it's somebody else and whatnot. Katrina says, how do you recognize a rebound? Really, with the rebound, it's just a matter of you giving yourself time to heal before you try and move on to pursuing something with somebody else. So, um, yeah, like Allison said earlier, if you're one of those that sometimes gets on Facebook and talk about you're playing the victim and pity partying and all this other kind of stuff, then there are people that feed and prey on people that are vulnerable in those situations. um and those types of people, the best thing that I could recommend is just to know where you are and know that you're not ready to pursue anything with anybody else. And that's whether they're preying on you or not. If they're actually genuine, if they're genuine about it, then they're going to be genuine a week later, a month later, however long later, if they're genuinely interested in you. But pretty much if they are preying on you and you're not really taking the bait, eventually they're going to move on to the next one. But for you, don't just move on to the next person because you feel like you need to displace this negative energy or all of this hurt and pain, and you just want to numb it and you just want to go on and focus on the next person. Don't do that. because then, because you're currently toxic at the moment, you're going to taint the next person and so on and so forth. Give yourself time to heal, you know, use the break wisely. How do you know when you are ready? You are ready when, yeah, now Allison, you knew it was coming. When you balance your chakras, that's what I'm gonna tell you first. Make sure that you balance those chakras. And the reason I say that is because when you balance your chakras, you get to a point of understanding yourself, and you are following your intuition. You know what you feel, and you trust what you feel. When you know and trust what you feel, then you know you're ready. And you can also use discernment to weed out those that are not really for you, or those that are not really trying to be in a relationship, or they're not ready for what you're ready for. So, you know, if you want to learn about balancing chakras and whatnot, we can definitely talk. You may need a chakra consultation. We can definitely do that. But say no to the rebounds. Allison?
All right. What's up, Rod? What's up, Demo? And what's up, Mike? Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback and answer those two questions too from a more of a example standpoint that go along with what Ruby was saying. So here are some of the ways that you'll know you're in a rebound relationship. The easiest one is if the minute you're not in the presence of the new person. I'm gonna say dude since that's what I date. Okay, so this can go both ways. If I'm in the presence of a new guy and the minute I get home I'm thinking about the old guy, I'm in a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
If the minute that the new guy does something differently than the old guy and I realize that I preferred the way the old guy did it, I'm still in a rebound. If I'm still thinking about, you know, what he could be doing, I'm having a good time with my dude, but let's say you may have a friend who tells you that they just saw the old dude out with a girl and you go home and cry, you're in a rebound. And the reason that
Mm-hmm.
you're still in the rebound is because your heart is still healing from not being with who you want to be with. And so if you're still in that situation where your ex is still, you're still thinking about them, you still have stuff of theirs, not necessarily, you know, if you decide you want to put them away because it's a special moment, that's fine. But if you still have
Right.
it out, if you still look at it when you come home, if you still have, you know, and this is going to sound crazy, but I've heard of people who do this, you still have the same towel that they last used when they spent the night and you haven't washed it. You still have the last cup that they drink out of and you haven't washed it because you want to look at their lip print on the glass. This sounds funny, but these are signs that you are still healing. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you're still going through that, you're dating someone, you're rebounding. And I'm just going to, you know, dispel a myth. The best way to get over a person is not to get under another one or in front of or behind of or on top of. It's not. All you're doing is, it's kind of like packing down your feelings from the old relationship and acting like they're not there. The thing
Mm-hmm.
about feelings, though, is that they're going to come out no matter what you do. It's just a matter of
Right.
if you control them coming out or if you allow them to control themselves. And if you allow them to control themselves, you are not going to like the result. So if you're still packing down those feelings and using a date or a one night stand or alcohol or weed or whatever, you're
Mm-hmm.
in a rebound because you don't always have to be in a rebound with somebody else. You could be in a rebound with the bottle. You could be in a rebound with that blunt. You could be in a rebound with all these other things. But if all of it is designed to numb your pain, you're still rebounding. Now, how to know that you're
That is
ready?
on my list. That is on my list. It
Now, how to
says,
know that you're ready? One of the ways to know that you're ready is you're not thinking about your ex when you're with another person. You're not comparing the new person to your ex. And you're also at a point where, like Ruby said, you are trusting yourself more. You are back to trusting your instincts because that's one of the first things that leaves us when we realize someone has manipulated or abused us. We stop trusting our own instincts. When you're back to the place where you can do that, you're ready to go out because you won't run into that again. And if you do, you won't stay there. So that's one of the ways to know it. And you're also going to be, one of the ways that you to know that you're on your way, just for those who may be in the middle, is if you are actively turning down good people because you know you're not ready. It's a fearful thing. It's fearful when you have a good guy or a really good girl, and you have believe, you know, we keep being bombarded with all this information that there aren't a lot of good people left. It is a scary thing to say, well, I want to hold on to him, but I'm not ready. But what you don't understand is you're now on the flip side of the person who did the same thing to you. They had the same situation. They thought you were a good dude or a good guy or a good girl, but didn't want to commit yet. So they kept you on a string. You don't want to turn around and be that same person to someone else. So even if you have someone who comes and tells you, I want to do this for you and I want to be here for you, it sounds wonderful. But if you just take it because they're offering it, that now makes you a taker. You're going to pay for that. So until you're ready to give what they're offering to give you, you need to stay away. So if you're in that point where you're giving those people, you're telling them, hey, I'm not ready. And like Ruby said, if they sincerely want to be with you, yeah, they could maybe meet somebody else or whatever. But the people that are meant to come back around will come back around.
Come back around. Right.
They will. And so you focus on being right and doing right. And I'm not going to say love people the way you want to be treated, but love them the way that you would want to be loved. And if you know that I know this, I don't want to fall for anybody who's not ready to catch me. Been there, done that, not doing it again. So likewise, I'm also not going to put that out in the universe and in the atmosphere by being with someone who falls for me and I'm not ready to catch them. Right. So you just have to keep the perspective. You being hurt does not give you the right to go hurt somebody else or to go use somebody else. Exactly. Just stop it.
Yes. Roderick says, I balance my chakras, but I'm around so many believers, I seem to lose focus. And then he says, when you were talking about all the stuff like towels and cups and stuff, throw it all out. Yes, throw it all out. But just keep working on balancing your chakras. The more you do it, the more often you do it, the stronger you become in being focused. Next on the list is and for those who are just now tuning in, we're talking about what not to do during the break between ending one relationship and before moving on to the next one. The next one is don't be emotional too long without progress. Of course, we know if this was somebody that you loved, and especially if y'all were together for a long period of time and you all break up, yes, you should give yourself ample time to heal, ample time to feel, and be emotional. The reason we say don't do it too long, because if it becomes too long that you do it, then that could turn into a mental illness, such as depression, such as anxiety or stress or anything else. When it gets, it becomes too long when it starts to interfere with you doing daily activities and regular activities, such as going to work and eating and spending time with friends and spending time with families and doing stuff that you normally would do. So just, make sure that you're giving yourself time to be emotional, but as each day goes by, as each week goes by, you're getting better. You're finding happiness and you're finding peace in actually doing those things that you do normally, even if it's something that you pick up new, because you're getting back to being you and focusing more on you as opposed to thinking about somebody else and worrying about somebody else. You're getting back to you. So don't be emotional too long without progress. Your turn. Tag, Allison.
All right, so what's up, Rod? What's up, Troy? What's up, my Trina? And what's up, Timoleon? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So, the emotional part. Let me answer a real quick thing with Rod too. Rod, when you were talking about the chakras and how you try to balance them, but you're around too many believers. Because I know you personally, I know what you're saying is you're still around a lot of religious people. And so the very quick answer to how you can overcome that, you have to increase the amount of time you're spending towards the chakras and the enlightenment and the metaphysical. You have to increase your amount of time there, or you have to decrease your amount of time around those other people. That's the way that you're going to find balance. If you know which direction you want to go and they're pulling you away from that direction, you have to spend more time in that direction and less time with them. Now, as you start to get stronger in that area, you will be able to be around people who have different mindsets, and it won't drain you. But you have to give yourself time to build up to that. So that's the suggestion I have for you. In terms of the emotions, I'm really big on people expressing their emotions. And for those who have not followed me for a while, I've always been an emotional person. But one of the issues that I've had is I have always seemed to connect myself around people who didn't want to be emotional, and by default kept accusing me of being too emotional. I was never too emotional. I was just open and expressive with my feelings. And so I had to change my environment. It wasn't about me changing me. The other reason that I'm so into this is because after the death of my mom almost 4 years ago in June, she died from cancer. And to my knowledge, I don't believe we have anyone in my bloodline who actually died from that condition. And so it just led me to start looking into I was on the beginning of my journey away from religion, and I started to look up the spiritual roots of illnesses. And I saw that one of the spiritual roots of cancer can be bitterness and unforgiveness. And so those two things can happen when you either have a hard life and you have a lot of things happen that are unfair, and you just decided to push through them, but you've never dealt with them. So that stuff is still festering in your spirit and in your body. And so for that reason, I like to just get my feelings out. I'm not crazy. I don't do things in a ridiculously over the top manner. But if I'm mad, I want to get that out immediately. If I'm sad, I want to get that out immediately. If I'm disappointed, I want to deal with that immediately, because I don't want it to stay in my body and cause any other issues. So having said that, it's important to get your emotions out. If you don't feel like you can do it with anyone, you really only need yourself. Some nights I just lit my candles, turn on some meditation music, and I just let it out there. If I needed to cry or scream or whatever, but they got to come out. That's the only way you're going to have clarity here, and that's the only way you're going to have healing here. You've got to get it out. When you know you're staying there too long, though, is when it starts to affect your personality. Do you find that you're becoming more cynical? Do you find that you're becoming more skeptical? Are you more sarcastic? Are you not the same easygoing, lighthearted person that you used to be? If you are noticing changes in your personality, you're still holding on to those emotions too long for whatever reason. They've got to go. And so you want to make sure that while you're taking this break, that you're intending it to be a break. Because there's a difference between saying, I want to take a break so I can go back out here and be healthy, and you saying, I'm just going to take a break so I can erect as many walls as possible so nobody can get to me. It's all about the mindset that you have. So if you keep the emotions too long, your break is now wall building. It's not healing. And that's going to end up affecting you down the road.
Right. And just like Allison was saying, I tell people too that with balancing chakras, one way to know whether or not a chakra is balanced is if you have physical pain in that area. If you notice you have headaches a lot, or if you have ear infections or stuff like that, if you have third eye blockage, if you have issues with the throat or strep throat or sore throat, something like that, or problems with shoulders, your throat chakra is blocked. So that holding in emotions and feelings and stuff like that can definitely have some physical, issues that you need to address.
Yes.
But on to the next thing is don't blast.
Oh.
And when I say don't blast, don't get on social media blasting people, because you feel like if you are in a relationship with this person, of course, you all shared some very intimate things. You opened up to each other. Don't go on social media blasting their business. We don't need you posting no receipts. We don't need you, none of that. Because one, that you know, that's definitely a reflection of who you are, but then you're putting more energy into them than you are into healing yourself. It's just not worth it. And then that, you know, to us, it makes it look like, oh, that's why they broke up. That's why they not together. And then what do
Mm-hmm.
you look like?
Mm-hmm.
Don't blast. We don't need to see no receipts. Just chill. Just like Allison said her homegirl does, she shuts down all her social media for 30 days. You may not need 30 days. You might need 2 weeks, or you might need 30 weeks. Whatever it is you may need, do that. Just don't blast. Don't. It's not worth it. I mean, really, it's not. That's just wasted energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say about that. Allison.
Well, here's what I'll add to that. If you're the person who's the most emotional, 9 times out of 10, you're also the person who fell in love. And I want you to understand what you say when you're talking about loving a person. So I did a blog about it. For some reason, I can't find it. It was a good one. But anyway, when I tell a person that I love them, what I'm saying to them is I have looked at the pros and cons. I have looked at their flaws. I have looked at their bruises, and I've decided that I want to commit my heart to loving them. Now, what that means is I want to support you with your dreams. I want to support you with your goals. I am going to challenge you if I think you're not living up to your best potential, but I'm going to do it in love, and I'm going to do it with respect.
Right.
Your kids are our kids. If I've got it, you've got it. But here's the thing. People who automatically get upset when a relationship goes sour and they begin to spout every single thing that happened with their ex. Now, I'm not saying to a friend. I'm saying publicly. If you decide that you now want to publicly talk about everything that this person did, I need you to know you never loved them. You never loved them. Your love was conditional. Because love does not die. It may have to be, it may have to change. It may have to be transformed into something else, but love never dies. I dated a person who told me that he was just, he was just like, I don't want you to, you know, I know you're a relationship person. I don't want you talking about me, you know, after this stuff is over. I don't want you talking about A, B, C, or D. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, everyone has a moment where they just want to go off on somebody that's hurt them. That's human nature. What I'm saying is your character is still your character when they're gone.
Right.
Do you want to be seen as a person who loves a person until they make you mad? Do you want to be seen as a person who said, I love you and did all of these great things until the relationship didn't work? And now you want to start talking about everything that you did and you want to start telling the whole Facebook media, you know, how they didn't appreciate it? You didn't love them, my brother. You didn't love them, my sister, because love is still going to keep all that offline.
Right.
It is. You can talk to friends about it. You can journal about it. You can have a moment with the universe about it. It doesn't seem fair. I did all of this, and why didn't they appreciate? You can have those moments, but when you put it publicly with the intention of trying to somehow hurt them, they were right to leave you because you've proven that everything that you did was met with a condition. And since your condition was not met, all bets are off. That doesn't, taking your ex out of the picture, that doesn't put you any closer to meeting the person that you want to be with. Because you're a conditional lover. And if that's you, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but this gives you the opportunity during the break to realize maybe I am a little selfish. Maybe I am just thinking about myself. Maybe I do need to realize that love is not necessarily what I think it means. Maybe I do need to figure out where that's coming from. And I think it's a heart chakra issue, isn't it? Is that right?
That's heart chakra, and that's also your sacral chakra.
And so when we're saying don't blast, that relationship at some point was important to you. Treat it that way. Even when it's over. If you loved them, treat it that way. You should
still be loving them after the fact.
You're going to love them after the fact. Love does not die when it's real. You may just have to back it up. You may not be able to display it to them the way that you want to, but if it's there, if it's really there, keep your mouth closed.
Exactly. Next on the list, for those just tuning in, we're talking about what not to do during the break between ending one relationship and before you get into the next relationship. Last week we talked about things that you should do.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that one. You know,
Yes.
after we finish this one, though, don't go do it now. Wait,
Don't watch
wait.
it now.
But next on the list, I have don't blame yourself and don't beat yourself up. When I say don't blame, I'm not saying do not take accountability for what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying don't blame yourself as if you're looking at yourself like, oh, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why doesn't he or she want to be with me? What could I have improved on? Don't beat yourself up like I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Don't do those kinds of things. For one, that just tears you down emotionally. It's just like if you can't believe in yourself and if you don't believe that you're good enough, why would you expect anybody else to be? So you definitely don't want to, talk to yourself in that type of manner because you don't want anybody else to talk to you like that. Always remember you are a reflection of whatever it is that you're attracting. So if you're doing negative self-talk, then guess what? You're going to attract somebody else that's going to be doing negative self-talk. And then y'all going to be in a relationship negative self-talking not only each other but yourselves, and you're just going to end up back in the same situation. Don't blame yourself, don't beat yourself up, but make sure um, that you don't ignore the lesson that you were supposed to learn. Some of us always wonder why we keep ending up with the same people, why we keep attracting the same people, why we keep dealing with the same type of men and the same type of women. It's because you're supposed to learn something from it and you're not. It could be that you just clearly don't know what's going on and you probably need, another set of eyes or another mind to process it differently than what you're doing, or either you're choosing to ignore the lesson. You can't get mad because you're choosing to ignore the lesson. That's your fault. And you're going to keep ending up with the same people with the same dead end relationships. And you're never going to be able to attract the person that you deserve. You're never going to have the type of relationship that you want. You're never going to have the type of relationship that you keep posting relationship goals on, but you ain't doing no relationship goal activities to even get there. Stop posting them. But don't blame yourself, don't beat yourself up, and don't ignore the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Katrina says, I tend to do this because I overanalyze everything. And then Roderick just says, some people seem to want closure, but the door to the closure is off the hinge. Katrina, yes, us as women, because, we are emotional, we have a tendency to allow our feminine energy to overpower our masculine, but we have that for a reason. That's why we have that sixth sense, that gut instinct, that
Mm-hmm.
intuition, that things to let us know when it's too quiet, our children are somewhere doing something they ain't got no business doing. We're supposed to have that.
Yep.
But like once you get to the point where you're able to, it's okay to overanalyze, but you have to keep yourself at bay. The only person that can overanalyze and overthink is you, because only you know what your thoughts are. You only truly know what your feelings are. So the only person that can really control that is you. When you find yourself overanalyzing or overthinking, then that's when that other voice comes in. You know what? Calm down. You're beautiful. I love you. And you have to have those kind of thoughts to get your mind off of what you really don't need to be focusing on at the time. And with people wanting closure, look, whether you give me closure or not, it really don't matter. I can only control me and I can only control my feelings. So if I'm choosing not to be with you, then that's, what it's going to be. I don't need closure because sometimes closure, like you said, the door's off the hinges and it's just not going to be there. Whether it's there or not, you need to learn how to suck it. Well, I don't want to say suck it up as if it's a bad thing, but take the time to do what's necessary to move on and heal and become the person that you want to become, and then move on. Katrina says, I think also one of my biggest issues is because I'm empathic. I will bend to the other person's energy as well. Yes, we actually did a show about energy and protecting yours and recharging and blocking other people's energy or preventing yourself from absorbing other energies. You have to learn how to do that. You have to. But I'm gonna go ahead and give Allison some time so we don't, because we only got an hour. Go on, Allison. Go ahead, go.
All right, so I'll piggyback on those questions too. So the first one, Katrina. Oh, by the way, thank you for joining us, Kevin. I saw you come in.
Mm-hmm.
So the overanalyzing, like Ruby said, there is a place for that. See, what we have to remember is, regardless of how things are being used now, everything that we've been given as women and everything men have been given as men, it was for a direct purpose, and the purpose was for us to use it together. And
Right.
so that sixth sense, the reason women were given the sixth sense is because of the fact that we did get more of the emotion. We are supposed to be the nurturers. We are supposed to be those who show the concern and all of those things. But more importantly, we are supposed to be the extra set of eyes for our men. And there are certain things that you don't see with your eyes. You see them with your intuition. You see them with those things. And so the over analyzing, it usually just means that you're using that gift. Now, where we tend to end up in the loop is when we analyze and we end up with an answer we don't want.
Mm.
If because a lot of times our intuition will say A, B, C, or D, but we may not like it. Relationships, career, whatever, we don't
Right.
like it. So then we go back through that loop, seeing if we can find one hole. We look for one hole that we didn't see before, and we're like, oh, that must be the way to what I really wanted to hear. And so when we're over analyzing, that is usually also a sign that we have the answer, we just don't want it. And so when we have that moment, what I have started to do myself and what I suggest other people do is to take a moment, usually at the end of the day, because it can be kind of emotional, but at the end of the day, sit still, sit quiet, and walk with that answer. Walk with that job is not for you. Sit down and
Mm-hmm.
lean into that reality. That woman is not right for you. That man is not right for you. And it's really hard, either if we've been single for a while or if the person just seems completely right for us and we don't understand what the problem is. We have to stop wanting to know the answer to why and just accept the answer. And usually, once we get to the point that we accept the answer, the why comes later.
Exactly. Yes.
It's when we get stuck wanting to know why. Well, I got to know why before I can move on. Well, if the why is not meant to happen until you elevate to where it is, you're never going to get there. So don't see overanalyzing as an issue, because it's not. It's usually there to protect us. The thing about Rod with closure, here's the thing about closure. In a relationship, you normally have two people. You have one person who wants out and you have one person who doesn't. The person who wants out is usually not the person that asks for closure. It's usually the person who doesn't want out because they put in effort, they put in time, they've invested their heart, they've
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed, and they don't understand why the other person did not find it good enough. Now, that person may have their own reasons. Either they weren't ready, either they made a mistake, either they made a decision with this person that they really weren't into, and the longer time goes, the less they want to be there. Everyone has their reasons for everything. Everyone has a right to feel they want to feel. What you have to understand, though, if the person who doesn't want to leave is asking for closure, and let's just say that the person who wants to leave is out, if they're out and if they're gone, one of the mistakes that I see people make is the person who wanted out keeps coming back around. And you can't keep
Mm-hmm.
doing that to the person who didn't want that person to leave. So that's an example that I'm using. So if I'm dating someone and they decided they want to leave, they don't want to be with me for whatever reason, I first need to separate myself so that I can press the reset button.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, the other person who wants to be gone, whether it be by guilt or whether it be for selfish reasons, they've got to leave me alone too. And the reason is because as long as I still see you, and as long as I still talk to you, and as long as we keep rehearsing what went right and what went wrong and what, I never get out of the loop.
Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing you as the person that I want to be with. And every time you leave, I start wondering, well, why can't we be together? He was here again and we did this again. And I never get out of the loop. And so sometimes you have to give people closure by staying away. That is their closure. That gives them a chance to hit the reset button. That gives them a chance to cry their tears. That gives them a chance to accept that it's not going to be the way they want it to be. And for oh, Troy says men tend to overanalyze too. Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah.
I've noticed recently. What's up, Rob? And what's up, Norm? How you doing, hometown? And so, in terms of being an empath, look, I'm an empath too. But what I've learned is I don't have to take everyone's energy. And I also have learned the value of spending time alone to meditate that energy out of me. Because sometimes you are going to pick it up. That's just what your gift is. You're supposed to pick it up so that you can
Mm-hmm.
start to understand how you can help people and how you can, say things that they don't really know how to express. That's beautiful. But then there's another step. Now you have to go back to your quiet place and you have to get to the point where you release that energy because you were meant to borrow it for that particular time, not to keep carrying
Mm-hmm.
it. So now you got to give it back to the universe. Thank you for the opportunity for me to have the gift of taking on this person's energy so I can help them. I now release it back to you to do as you see fit. That way it continues to flow out. So that's one of the things that I've had to learn to do. So hopefully that'll help.
Right. Okay, and let's see. Let me see if I can group these last few together. But I do have two others. Don't take biased advice from bitter people, and don't do things that numb you.
I'm sorry. That was such a good one. Such a good one.
Don't take biased advice from bitter people, and don't do things that numb you. Um when we say biased advice from bitter people are still trying to get through the process themselves, and they is nothing that they can say that can really help you because they're still hurt, they're still in a bad place, they're still trying to figure it out. Don't do things that numb you. Don't drink, don't overeat, don't oversleep, don't do drugs, don't oversex yourself. Just like that song with Cranes in the Sky by Solange. She can drink it away, she can sex it away, she can run it away, she can none of that. Just don't do those things. We don't
Yeah.
want you to do things that are gonna cause you to tear down yourself, wear down yourself. You need to focus on things to build you up. You need to focus on things to make you healthy. Not
Mm-hmm.
healthy just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, consciously, uh, as a single person. The stronger you become as a single person, then the more you can contribute or the more you can ask for in that next mate
Mm-hmm.
or whoever that next person is going to be. And because we limited on time, I'm gonna kind of leave it at that and let Allison go ahead and chime in.
All right. So the two things she brought up, they're very good. I'll do the last one first. So when we're talking about not numbing it, what Ruby said is 100% right. What I would add to that is I want you to think ahead. As bad as you're feeling right now, and as much as you don't think it'll ever get better, and you can't see past the hurt and you can't see past the betrayal or whatever it is that happened in this last relationship, what I want you to understand is whether you can see it or not, every day that you wake up, you're not only a day closer to what you say you want, but
Right,
you're also getting proof that that situation didn't kill you. So if the situation didn't kill you, don't pick up things that caused you to die early. And what I
right,
mean by that is Imagine that you ended up in a relationship where the man or the woman just really did a number on you in your heart. You decided you wanted to smoke weed or get drunk or have a bunch of sex and all this other stuff. Well, let's say by the time the right person gets along, you didn't go through the healthy means of getting yourself ready for them. So now this perfect person, the one who wasn't right for you, went to the gym with you and ran with you and traveled with you and did all these other things. Now the person who really does appreciate your heart, she or he doesn't get to travel or jog or go to the gym because now they're running you to doctor's appointments. Now they have to sit home because you got a bunch of child support payments from when you went out there wilding out and deciding to have a bunch of kids with people. You got to think ahead. You got to think beyond what you see and what you feel at that particular moment, because it will come back and hurt the person who is meant for you, and you're in turn going to be hurt because you're going to remember how you had this perfect life for the wrong person, and now because you wouldn't let that go in a healthy way, you now have this unhealthy life and these unhealthy consequences that the person meant for you now has to deal with, and it's not fair to either one of you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would say about that. um the last section, what was it again? I
Don't
forgot, just
take
in a minute.
biased
Yes.
advice from bitter people.
I don't take advice from married people. I take advice from happily married people. I don't take advice from single people. I take advice from happily single people. And there's a difference. Don't let time, don't let, people are running around here saying we've been married for 45 years and they haven't slept in the same room for 35 of them. You have nothing to tell me. Nothing. But if you've been married for 5 years and you tell me you've been through a layoff and a job loss and you've had all these other things happening and y'all still having date night and y'all still connecting, y'all are who I want to talk to. So when we talk about being biased, what we're saying is, your friends. The friend who hasn't got over her own relationship or his own relationship. That is not who you want to go talk to when you're in the middle of going through this break, because that person wants company. They do. They want somebody just as bitter and mad and cynical as they do. They're not going to help you. And don't let the fact that it's
Yes.
a relative or somebody that you went to grammar school with tell you that that's who you're supposed to go to. When you are unhealthy, walk towards health. When you are unhappy, walk towards happiness. Don't go to what's familiar. Sometimes the
Right.
best way to get out of something is to go in a different direction. So make sure you're paying attention to who you're opening up to. I'm
Yes.
done.
Tate, whatever. Anyway, the last one real quick, which is it really doesn't need any explanation or anything. Delete the text messages, delete the phone number, delete the emails, all of that, just delete it. Because if not, you're gonna keep scrolling through it. Don't just delete it. Just delete it. Now, with that being said,
Mhm.
today's episode of Soul Sunday with myself and Allison was about what not to do
Yeah.
during the break, and that break being the time that you take between ending a relationship and before you go into the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank you all for watching.
Yeah.
Next week, Allison, I actually just thought about this, but next week I
Okay.
want to talk about detachment, attachment, and connections.
Cool. Okay.
So we will discuss detachment, attachment, and connections on next week. That's not only to people, but to things and
I like
places
it.
and stuff like that.
I like
But
that.
thank you, Robin. And let's see, Cecil, Leslie, Latoya, Rob. You probably said some of these names, but we thank you all for tuning in. I am Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur and Soul Speaker. I'm the author of the Goddess Grind series. And you know what? My first two books are available, and I'm probably going to end up writing, I don't even know how many more, but you can find me online at www.thegoddessgrind.com. On YouTube, just search youtube.com Ruby Davidson. On Instagram, IG at Ruby D Artistry. You can book a chakra consultation with me online. Um, Yeah, and I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let Allison go ahead and get her stuff in.
All right, guys. You can find me right here on Facebook under Allison Denise. Please connect with me. You can find me under Be Still and Move, where we have our closed group and discuss different topics like this in an environment where nothing goes outside of the group or you go outside of the group. uh, you can
Right.
find me on Instagram and my YouTube channel under I Will Be Still and Move. You can also find me under Snapchat and Twitter under Be Still and Move. Got some different things going on there, but make sure you link up so you can take advantage. I'm here on Facebook Live myself every Monday through Thursday, somewhere between 8:15 and 8:45 to discuss a different topic each night. On Fridays in the
Right.
afternoon, I'm online for Financial Friday. I'm part of the Bad Squad. You can reach us on Friday evenings on the Fishbowl Radio Network, 9 to 11 Central, 10 to midnight Eastern. We're right there in the green ball, so download the app and check us out this coming Friday. And I'm right here with
Hmm.
Ruby on Sunday, starting off my week right with Soul Sunday. That's all I
Exactly.
got.
And we actually have some I would say some huge announcements coming soon, but y'all just have to keep watching just to
Yes,
tune
we
in
do.
and see what it's
Yes.
gonna be. So that's all we're gonna tell you. But
Yes.
again, we appreciate you. We will see you all on next Sunday when we talk about detachment, attachment, and connections.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we got this Sunday. So thank you for watching. Peace.